Welcome to Picks with the Professor, a sports betting show brought to you by a real statistics professor and his friends. Cousin Jared here hosting the show today with our friend Jake making his first baseball show of the season. Jake, I know that you're excited about baseball, but also sad because that means that college basketball is winding down.
Yeah, like it was a very miserable end there, sitting 3 rows off the court watching Tennessee just forget to play offense.
Hmm.
And then it's like, okay, at least I'll have the Braves coming out of this. And
What a rude awakening it was for you.
yeah, it has been a miserable there a couple weeks here.
Yeah, definitely. And I do not envy your situation with being so close to where Tennessee was playing that Elite Eight game. I mean, you had to go, right? Like you didn't you had to take the opportunity, but also, like when they lose in the fashion they did, just completely crushing. I'm glad that I don't have to find myself in that situation. With A&M, I rarely find myself in the situation of having to deal with anything like that. So I don't envy you. Viewer, we are going to have our picks for Wednesday, April 2nd on this show. Just a quick recap of our picks from April 1st. So we had the under in the Chicago White Sox game that did not play out. The Twins had a 5-run inning that did us in there. And then we had the over 8.5 in the Nationals and Blue Jays. Only got to 8. Didn't cover that one, and our third pick is still in play. So 0-2 right now on yesterday's picks with one game still in play. But so far on the season, it's been a little bit down, but it's early, not a big sample size. So definitely baseball is a marathon, not a sprint. So Jake, since it is your first show of the season, I have to ask you about those Braves that you just talked about. What is your assessment so far of what has gone wrong for the Braves? Because the first show of the season I came on here and said if the Dodgers or the Braves aren't in the NLCS, I'm going to be shocked. And lo and behold, one of those teams looks like they're going to win the World Series, and the Braves look like they're never going to win a game. So what's your assessment of what's been going on with Atlanta so far?
It is a perfect storm of terribleness. You've got Chris Sale, who had an amazing year last year, and he's pitching very well tonight, but he comes out there and just does not look good to open the season. The offense isn't there. No, it doesn't look exciting. Then the one pickup that we had that made any sense was Profar, and he's gone for 80 games, so that's fun. Lopez, who had an absolute career year last year, done for a while. Like it's just everything, and then like it's really on the offense, and the bullpen. Swallenbach went out there the other night. He gives up one run. You win. You got to win games.
Right.
One run,
right.
Not get one hit. It feels like major league is happening out there.
Yeah. I feel like any Braves fan would probably agree with your assessment that it's just like nothing's gone right. You said everything's gone wrong. The other way to say that is nothing's gone right. Like you said, they're ahead early tonight against the Dodgers, so hopefully the beginnings of them turning something around. I'm going to say, and the people that have watched every show of the season so far are going to get tired of hearing me talk about this, but I'm just going to tell you now, go grab the over in the Cubs and A's game tomorrow, which we're recording this late in the evening on the 1st. So April 2nd on Wednesday, go grab the over in that A's Cubs game. We had it yesterday, covered by the 5th inning. It went over. The game has already gone over the total tonight in what are they in the 2nd or the 3rd? I don't even know. Third inning. Bottom of the 3rd. They have already gone over. They're already up to 9 runs in that game. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the professor will be making some tweaks to the relative field rating for Sacramento is going to be my guess. I mean, in the professor's defense, Sideline has said over in every game so far, B's and C's so far, so not strong leans. I have a feeling that's going to change getting all of these data points put in. So without further ado, we will jump into our picks for Wednesday, April 2nd. Just a couple of reminders about Sideline. It's a player-based model, so taking into account who's on the injured list, like you mentioned, who's been suspended for PEDs, who's been put on the paternity list, all those different things that baseball has. We're projecting one game here, but also in one game, who knows what's going to happen. We're projecting the average game. Anything can happen in one individual game as well. And anything is a good bet at the right price or number. So just hold your nose. At some point, we're going to have to back some bad teams. But it's a long season, and that's just going to happen over the course of the season. And also a reminder, if you're serious about your sports betting, join us over on Dub Club. The Honor Roll package gives you access to Discord, projections, probabilities, and price thresholds for every type of play. If you want to look at run line, you want to look at money line, it's got all that stuff. Not only for baseball, we've got hockey, we're wrapping up college basketball, have football in the fall. So every type of sport that you could imagine for only $29.99 a month. And make sure if you do sign up that you use the link in the show description. That will get you half off for your first month. So the first game that we're going to talk about on Wednesday, April 2nd is the Pirates at the Rays. We've got our boy, first pitch on this one, 1:10 p.m. Eastern. So it is a day game. Make sure you've got any plays placed earlier in the day. Our boy, Paul Skeens, on the mound for the Pirates against Ryan Pepio for the Rays. Not breaking news here. Paul Skeens, I think the professor put this in Discord or put it on Twitter or X, at some point. But Skeens, the best pitcher, according to Sideline, not necessarily close at this point. He's made quite the impression in a short period of time. But, the problem is, as always, with the Pirates, everything else not great around him. So the Pirates definitely have the edge in starting pitching, kind of a wash in relievers, but the Rays offense is much better. Sideline projects that the Pirates, even with that big edge from Skeens, only win this game 51% of the time. But we're not here to talk about the side. We're going to talk about the total. Sideline projects 7.8 runs in this game. And so, Jake, you decided that we're going to go over 7 in this one as our official play. Why do you like the over 7 here?
It's like everything is bad on the Pirates outside of really Skeens. They're like pitching wise. It's just I don't like the bullpen at all. Sideline likes the bullpen a bit more than me, but I don't like anything I've seen there. They haven't had a game where they've had one game all year so far that didn't get 7 runs, and judging, if you look at their record, you're going to see that they've only won one game. So that means they've lost every game, given up at least, or not given up 7 runs, but every game got to at least 7 runs. So I see the same thing. I mean, tonight, I believe they lost 7-0 with the Rays. So I think the Rays offense is a lot better. I think this might be one, might even look at the under for the first 5, because Pepiot is a decent pitcher, and then Skeens is great, as we know. But
yep.
I think it's going to fall apart late, and unless Skeens puts on his Nathan Eovaldi hat and goes 9 innings and shuts somebody out.
Yeah.
I don't think the Pirates want him to do that, because that's going to be a ton of pitches.
Yeah. I definitely tend to agree with you on that one. At this point in the season, they were so cautious with him, especially when they first drafted him. They were really cautious with him. They were cautious with him, bringing him up through the minors last year. He wasn't throwing a ton of pitches. I don't feel like Skeens is going to get to 100 pitches in this game. If you told me he was going to throw 100 pitches, 110 pitches, then I'd say, okay, maybe knock a few tenths of a run off of this projection from Sideline, but I don't think that's going to be the case. You mentioned that you're higher on the Pirates, you're lower on the Pirates relievers than what Sideline is. I'm wondering, so David Bednar, who was one of the best relievers in the game for the Pirates, the past, 2021 to 2023. And then the wheels came off at the end of last season. The wheels come off early in this season. They actually optioned him back to AAA before the game today. And so that may have actually made their relievers better. Bednar was one of the best relievers in the game for a couple of years there, but he's been bad as of recent. And so maybe optioning him down to AAA actually made their Sideline better. The Sideline projection of the bullpen better. But the other thing that I want to mention why we like this over here, and viewer, what you see on the screen here is all of the notes and information that you get for every game. If you're a member with us over on Dub Club. But first pitch weather, 91 degrees. Wow, that's lovely. You got to love Florida this time of year. Wind blowing out. And then at the end of the game, still 91 degrees, wind still blowing out. So the park and the weather combined adjust the anticipated runs up by 7%. So not only did we talk about, feel like Skeens may not go really deep into the game, get to that bad Pirates bullpen, but the weather's helping us anyway. So even if somebody might get a hold of one off Skeens, and it might get out when it normally wouldn't. So just another example of all the great info and analysis that you get if you're with us over on Dub Club. So the second game that we're going to talk about is going to be the Mets at the Marlins. First pitch on this one, 4:40 p.m. Eastern. So both of these that we're talking about are afternoon games. Lots of afternoon baseball games tomorrow. So I mentioned with the first game, make sure you got your plays in early. I feel like this is the way early season baseball is supposed to be played. A lot of afternoon games. So super excited about that. Anyway, I've digressed. Mets and Marlins, first pitch, 4:40 p.m. Eastern. Clay Holmes on the mound for the Mets versus Connor Gillespie for the Marlins. My kind of personal opinion on this one is, just look at all the numbers here. It's very hard for me to come up with any type of breakdown where I have seen two teams as disparate as these are. The Mets really good on offense, really good relievers. That's been the case for a couple of years now. Holmes, is he the best? No, but he's perfectly serviceable, which is more than you can say for the Marlins arms that aren't on the injured list. They've got a lot of good arms, just on the injured list. Seemingly can't stay off the injured list the past couple of years. Sideline has the Mets winning this one 71% of the time. The implied odds there are really high. So we've talked about this before, though. When you run into a situation like this, you can do a combination of the run line and the money line that ends up basically having the Mets laying one run. So that's going to be our official play here, laying a run with the Mets. I may have just stole your thunder there, Jake, just with there's a good team and there's a bad team. But do you have anything else to add to that?
No, I think we're going to get a better price seeing that the Marlins won the night. But it was nice to see Alcantara come back and look good again and get the win. But I think that's about as the only bright spot for the Marlins. They're all the bats aren't great. The pitching's terrible here, no matter which way you slice it. And the Mets pitching isn't wonderful here, but they've got a very good bullpen and an offense that can just clean house when they need to. Playing in a dome, we don't have to worry about weather stuff. So it just feels easy. That's why we're doing the -1, so that way, if the Marlins or the Mets screw up somehow, then we still just take the easy win and push on the money there.
Yep. I think the Marlins are going to be a team all season where I feel like we're going to be backing them a lot when they've got like Alcantara on the mound, and when he's not on the mound, or some of those other pitchers that are currently on the IL, we're going to be fading them a lot. It's very difficult to quantify. The professor does it well here, obviously, but for us people, difficult to quantify the impact of the starting pitcher has, how it can just completely swing the odds for one game. I think that fading the Marlins is going to be a profitable investment for the season, except when they've got those one or two guys on the mound. So we're going to lay a run with the Mets here with what's currently available. That's going to roughly equate to -150 or so if you're laying a run with the Mets. So anything around that number would be good value. So the last game that we are going to talk about for April 2nd is going to be the Red Sox at the Orioles. This is one of the few night games that's on the schedule. First pitch for this one at 6:35 p.m. Eastern. Garrett Crochet, newly of, I think, like $170 million contract. So good for him against Zach Eflin for the Orioles. The Red Sox offense hasn't looked great. The Orioles good offense as normal, but big starting pitcher mismatch. Well, not big starting pitcher mismatch, but Eflin's solid. But Crochet is, according to Sideline right now, the second best pitcher, starting pitcher in baseball. Of course, a reliever edge with the Orioles getting Bautista back. I think he pitched in his first game since I can't remember if he had Tommy John surgery last season, but pitching in his first game back. So that's a big boost to the Orioles bullpen. Sideline has the Orioles winning this one 53% of the time, but we're here to talk about the total. Sideline projects the total on this one to be 7.4. Jake, we're going under 8 here. And so why did this game stand out to you?
When Crochet is incredible. Loved him at Tennessee. It absolutely hated the fact that his last year we had a very good team, got killed by COVID, so he didn't get the chance to do the old Omaha thing. But he's absolutely killed it for the White Sox last year. Then I was praying that somehow he ended up at the Braves, ends up at the Red Sox, and gets paid like he should, because he might be. I think there's this argument for him to be the number one pitcher, but that's beside the point. I think he's that kind of good, and being left-handed helps out a little bit. And Eflin just seems to kind of cruise along, always just very.
He's just
slightly better than average.
Just
better than average, and goes around Red Sox offenses. Devers does. I don't know. Does he have a hit yet?
I don't know if he has a hit. He had 2 walks, but I think he had 2 or 3 strikeouts yesterday. So he's getting on base sometimes. But I saw a stat that he struck out in at least twice in like 11 straight games going back to the end of last season. So yeah, it's just been crazy strikeout numbers.
Scouting reports out on him, and then people found that out. And, I mean, Bregman doesn't look great yet. And it's nothing on the offense is great.
Yeah.
The only thing that worries you is the Orioles are a good team, very solid team. I mean, when you have Rutschman and Mullins, all of those guys, it's going to be tough to not worry about the bullpen when that gets there. But other than that, I could very easily see this being 5-0 and not thinking twice about it and never even worry about the over. I think the bullpen comes through, because Eflin's not going to go that deep, but having a very good bullpen, like top tier that the Orioles have, and just absolutely carry it through. I don't see too many ways this gets to 8 runs.
Yeah, I think the way that if this play were to lose, I think it's because the Orioles score a lot of runs early, score like 4 or 5 runs in the first 4 innings, and we get a early pull from the Red Sox, and you get to that Red Sox bullpen, get 5 innings out of them. That it's like, okay, yeah, well, the Orioles might get to 8 runs themselves in that scenario. So I think that's the way that if this one were to go, it would lose. But I really like the starting pitchers, both of them in this one. Like I said, just no confidence at all in the Red Sox offense at this point in the season. You mentioned that Bregman hasn't started going. Like as an Astros fan, it's just okay. Well, same song, different verse. Come talk to me in June with Bregman. He'll start getting some hits about that time of year. So just a reminder, if you want more free picks, very soon we will have limited Discord access. Will be available free to anybody who wants it. As soon as that is available, we'll make sure to include the links here. And of course, we've got a list of all of our handles in the show description. And also, if you want to sign up for the full package at Dub Club, make sure to use the sign up link in the show description to get 50% off your first month. So with that, wrapping up our picks for April 2nd, Jake, you have any final thoughts for our viewers?
Just praying to see the Braves get on the win column. This is brutal.
I was about to say I've got it on. I am pulling for them because at this point it seems like they're never going to win and the Dodgers aren't going to lose. And the Dodgers never losing is by far the worst of those two things.
I don't want to go back to buying wins and they're not even buying them. They're financing them out because they're not paying anybody till like 2090.
Yeah, it is very interesting, the gulf between the haves, not even the haves, the wills, the people who will spend the money no matter what, and those who just don't care about spending money. Just, that's I don't know. Maybe there might be a work stoppage coming because of all of that in the next few years. Who's to say? Well, thank you very much, viewer. I hope you enjoyed the show. Good luck on all of your picks. And we will be back tomorrow for more baseball. But until then, remember, you can eat your betting money, but please don't bet your eating money.